Give me a little of your time, and I'll strip away what you've been calling weakness, not with motivational slogans, not with hollow inspiration, but by showing you the truth. Your weakness isn't real. It's a story, a script you've rehearsed so many times that you've confused it with your personality. If you stay with me, you sit through the discomfort and let these words pierce the parts of you you've been hiding something in, you will break. And what takes its place won't be a better version of you. It will be the version that has always been there, buried under layers of self-doubt, waiting for the moment you stopped protecting your illusions. Nietzsche never wrote for the fragile. He didn't comfort the weak. His words were for those who were ready to face the brutality of existence with eyes wide open, for the ones tired of lying to themselves, for the ones who realized no savior is coming and finally decided to stop waiting. If that's where you are, done with fear, with apologies, with the soft lies that shrank you into invisibility, then this isn't your transformation. It's your return, because strength was never missing. It was only smothered beneath comfort, training, and self-betrayal. So let's start here. What does it mean to be weak? Most people think weakness is crying too much, being too small, lacking discipline. Wrong. Weakness isn't emotional expression. Weakness is emotional submission. Weakness is needing permission. Weakness is outsourcing your validation to people who don't even understand themselves. Weakness is choosing peace over truth. It's lying about what you want to avoid judgment. It's calling your laziness self-care, your fear humility, your insecurity empathy. Weakness isn't the absence of strength. It's the presence of betrayal of yourself, and the brutal truth. The modern world is built to make you weak. Your schools taught you to obey. Your culture taught you to conform. Your media feeds you helplessness disguised as awareness. Even the people who claim they love you, many of them thrive on your hesitation, your softness, your silence. They praise your restraint not because it serves you, but because it keeps you small, predictable, dependent, forgettable. Nietzsche saw this. He saw how society tames you, domesticates you. The individual has always had to struggle to keep from being overwhelmed by the tribe, he wrote. Not a physical struggler, psychological one. The fight to stay loyal to your instincts in a world that demands you cut them off. The fight to remain dangerous, not violent, not chaotic, but dangerous, in a society that wants you polite, polished, obedient. That's the first step to erasing weakness, recognizing that you've been trained to mistake it for goodness, to think saying no is rude, that boundaries are selfish, that choosing yourself is narcissism. Nietzsche turns that upside down. Real strength, the kind that makes you magnetic, respected, unforgettable, comes only when you reject mass thinking, reject safety, reject the need to be liked. So I'll ask you, who are you without the need to be liked? Strip it all away. No filters, no editing. If no one needed you to be agreeable, nice, humble, passive, who would you be? What would you say? What would you demand? What would you walk away from? Most people can't answer, because they don't have a self. They have a mask, a persona sculpted to survive. And Nietzsche despised that. It was the death of spirit. Because the moment you stop being dangerous, the moment you start shrinking your truth to fit the system, you've already surrendered your power. And you know that already, don't you? That quiet resentment, that low burn of frustration, that fatigue that sleep can't fix, that's not burnout. That's the cost of weakness. The cost of living against your instincts just to keep the surface smooth. So here's what Enzai would tell you: no, you were not born to be soft. You were not born to be tolerant of everything. You were not born to fold every time someone raises their eyebrow. You were born to embody something sharper, something primal, not katakic, butanshakal, not reckless, but untouchable. And the reason you feel wake is because you've denied that part of you for so long. You've started to believe it never existed, but it did. It does, and we're going to dig it out. Let's talk about your habits, because weakness lives in routine, in subtle daily rituals that slowly mature willpower while convincing Yao you're doing fine. Enzi said, "He who cannot obey himself will be commanded." You wake up and you check your phone. Already you've lost, not because phones are bad, but because you didn't claim the day you surrendered it. You scroll, you compare, you envy, and then you rationalize. You say it's harmless. But every time you react before you create, you weaken the muscle of sovereignty. You become emotionally flabby. You lose siege, you lose command. So let's change that. Start owning your mornings before Rio. Check a screen, check your posture, check your breath. Remind yourself that you are not a consumer first. You are a creator, a builder, a strategist, and your energy is not available to algorithms the second you open your eyes. Next, speech. Weakness shows up in your words, in how you water yourself down to make people comfortable, and how you speak softly so they won't feel threatened, and how you say, "I don't" now when you do, and how you apologize for things that don't. Require analogy, you're leaking power, and they can feel it. That's why they don't listen to you. That's why they talk over you. That's why they underestimate you. NZ didn't whisper. He wrote with fire, and he expected you to do the same. Not to be loud, but to be clear. Clarity is force. Clarity makes people pause. It makes them lean in. And if your pre-anxious need do that yet, then you have work to do. Not because you're broken, but because you've been hiding, stowfitting. Own your opinions. Say them clean, don't explain them. Let thessalence after you speak carry weight. Most people are afraid of silence. Ya won't be, because silence means tension, and tension is how respect is earned. Now let's talk about emotion. You think strength means feeling nothing. That's wrong. That's dysfunction. Enzi didn't teach emotion. He taught emotional command. That means you can feel everything and still choose your action. You don't react, you respond. When Sumion address picks you, you don't explode, you don't chase, you don't defend, you just stare, you wait, and when you move, it's exact, it's surgical, that is strength. Weakness is emotion without awareness. Strength is emotion under control. So stop saying, "I'm just an emotional person." That's a lie. You're just indisciplined. And discipline isn't cold, it's clean, it's precise. It's the difference between crying in a breakdown and crying with purpose. The first Makasui, a victim. The second makes you human. And speaking of victims, Nietzsche hated them. He believed victimhood waste modern form of slavery, not physical slavery, psychological slavery. The need to blame, to wait for rescue, to justify stagnation with trauma. He didn't deny pain, he denied passivity. So here's what you do. You stop telling your story like a tragedy. You stop reciting your traumas as you stop weaponizing your pento. Get sympathy, you start transmuting it into steel. Because here's the truth. No one cares what happened to you, neutrally. They care what you become despite it. And if you can, becamethylmethylglycerin, something refined, something quiet, butane shakel. Then your past becomes afterwards, and your scars become your armor. Enzi said, he who has a why to live can bear almost anyhow. But here's the secret. Your why is not found. It is chosen. You don't wait for it. You decide it. You carve it into your days. And the moment you do, weakness begins to dissolve. Because when you know your direction, distractions die, drama fades, doubt becomes noise, and weakness, it loses its grip. So decide. Decide right now. Who do you serve? What do you build? What do you protect? What will you not tolerate? One more day of Makaitriel. Make it written, and make it non-negotiable. Because if you don't choose a why, the world will assign you one, and it will be weak. It will be soft. It will keep you obedient, broke, and forgettable. But that's not your fate. Not anymore. Because by the time this is done, Yao will no longer be the same. And now we will go even deeper. We will confront your subconscious. We will dismantle fear bits that enslave you. And we will begin the final process of reintroducing you to yourself. The version of you that never needed to be fixed on Lie Unleashed. You made it this far. That means one thing. You're not like the others. Because most people can't sit still when Samoan touches their weakness. Most people flinch. They kick away. They chase another dopamine hit. They pretend they already knew this. Botu, you're still here. And that means in you is starting to wake up. Something gold, something raw, something buried. Nietzsche didn't just write about power. He wrote about what makes men afraid of it. He knew that weakness isn't just physical or mental. It's existential. It's rooted in the story you've accepted, the definitions you've inherited, the quiet agreements you've made with fear before you even knew what fear was. And one of the deepest roots of weakness, the fear of being. Let's talk about that. You've spent your whole life trying to belong. School trained you to raise your hand for permission. Friends trained you to stay inside the tribe. Family trained you to suppress what's inconvenient. Relationships trained you to be agreeable, non-threatening, soft-edged, and slowly you become addicted to acceptance, not love, acceptance. The kind of dead passive inclusion that requires you to shrink, silence, and shapeshift just to be tolerated. But Nietzsche would look we in the eye and say you must be willing to stand alone, utterly, completely, if you were ever to know yourself, because the truth is belonging has a price, and most people pay with their authenticity, with their strength, with their. But not you. Not anymore. You're going to unlearn the addiction to belonging. You're going to become someone who doesn't beg for a seat at the table. You're going to build your own table. And if no one joins you, good. More room, more space, more clarity. That's the first upgrade. Solitude over submission. Now, let's go deeper. Why do you procrastinate? Why do you sabotage yourself? Why do you delay the things you know will make you better? Most people think it's laziness. It's not. It's a hidden loyalty. A psychological track you made long ago to stay smell so others wouldn't feel uncomfortable. Somewhere in your past, you learned that shining too brightly made people pull away. You learned that power came with that honesty came with punishment, that ambition came with loneliness. So you adapted. You learned how to dim, how to delay, how to talk yourself out of your own momentum just to keep things safe. That's not laziness, that's survival. But it's time to break the contract, Bez. You're not here to be tolerated. You're here to be felt. And that requires intense. It requires aceness. It requires the kind of clarity that makes average people comfortable. Enzi said, the snake which cannot cast its skin must die. That's what weakness really is. Their refusal to evolve because you fear who you might lose if you do. But now you're going to shed the skin, not gently, not slowly, you're going to rip it off. The people pleaser, the second guesser, the overrinker, the emotional translator, gone. Let's get tactical. Start with your language. Every time you say I don't know, when you do, you're in stinty. Every time you say Mabwin, you mean no, you fracture your own integrity. Every time you say sorry for existing, for interrupting, for needing any, you cut away at your own spine. Speak clearly. Don't soften, don't qualify, don't filter. People will say you're it. Let them. That's just a reflex from those who got used to you making yourself small. And you're done with that. Next, your body. Weakness hides in and how you sit and how you move and how you. Most people live like prey. Shoulders slumped, eyes down, breath shallow. You can tell someone's story, be their frame. But now you change yours. Stand like someone who knows they're watched. Walk like someone who expects to be followed. Sit like someone who ain't asking for permission. Every room you walk into, you dominate. Not by force, but by presence. Presence comes from certainty. Uncertainty comes from a lie. So ask yourself, what do I believe in so deeply that I would walk away from anything that doesn't honor it? Write it down, carry it, live by it, let it bleed into everything you do. Now let's kill something else. Victimhood NZ despised the modern tendency to glorify suffering. He saw it as a trap. When you make your pain or your personality, you become addicted to toughness. You become loyal to your struggle. You find identity in it. Others, the truth. No one cares what you survived. Care what you became because of it. And if all you became was bitter, anxious, fragile, then you let your story win. So rewrite it. Don't say I'm a trauma survivor. Say I'm a builder, a fire. Don't say I was abused. Say imundable. Don't say I have anxiety. Say I own stillness. Words are spells. Speak power or Now, let's close because you already knew everything I said somewhere inside you. The real you, the grounded, clear, calm, dominant version, was listening to every word and nodding, remembering what strength feels like, what clarity feels like, what clarity feels like, what it feels like to move without apology, to protect your energy like a king guards his land, to walk away from conversations that shrink you, to say no with your chest, to say yes only to the things that sharpen you, to sit in silence and feel no need to fill it. That's not motivation, that's home. You're back, but here's the catch. You can't unknow this. You can't go back to being of you who made excuses, hodled, who broke promises to himself. Because now you know better, and when you know better, you either evolve or you lie. So choose. Become the Nietzsche would respect. Not the loudest, not the richest, not the most praised, the most real. The one who looks in the mirror and sees no hesitation on lip presence. This is your standard now. Guard it like your life depends on it, because it does. Asterisk. Thanks for listening.